Hello, can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Okay, I'm coming. It seems to be working. Hello? I am blurry as usual. Hello, everybody there. Let's try to unblur myself. Okay, always blurry. Hello, everybody, and sorry for the little delay. I have some issues here. I had some issues with my software as usual. Each time I am using this software, it messes me up a little bit. Hello, HWL Liberty. Yes, I have hair changed. However, this is not how my hair will be. This is not a final product. I'm actually trying to make my hair blonde, lighter. As you can see here, it's okay, but here I had really dark hair. So it will take some time. This is a process. I cannot make it all blonde right away. And I'm doing it myself. So that's taking even more time. Thank you, Mick. Hello very much. Hello, and thank you for being here. So anyway, my hair is red, but the final goal is to go blonde. It's not the first time, actually. Don't think I'm trying to make myself look Pleiadian or anything like that. I had blonde hair before, already like 10 years ago. So this is not the first time. Girls like to change their hair color. This is nothing unusual. All right. Let me just set this up here, and I'll be right with you to discuss these federation matters. 1 second, please, because I'm trying to see myself here on my mobile. Okay. Let's see. 1 second. I don't have different screens, so I'll be looking at myself at the video on the phone. Okay. And then just to make sure that everything is okay. Yeah, I definitely look blurry on my phone. I don't know what's happening. But anyway, the most important thing will be what I will have to say. So if I'm a bit pixelated, well, then that's all right. I don't know the reason for it exactly. Okay, give me just 1 second, please. If you want to go to the toilet or get some tea, 1 second. Let me just try something else very fast, just to try to do something here with this picture. 1 second, please. Actually, yeah, it doesn't look too bad here. Okay, so it depends where I'm looking from. Okay, that's it. I'm done. That's it. So anyway, hello everybody. Officially, how are you doing? Thank you very much for your support and for watching all our videos and for watching the 2 videos about the Federation that I have done. I have decided to do this live here today, as this is nowhere near being over. This will continue. I have I think 3 more parts. Maybe not so long, but they will be quite packed as well. So I wanted to make a short pause and just recap some most important concepts, because I feel sometimes that people look maybe through the videos and it comes in and maybe I'm not sure how well it gets processed. Some of you probably are studying the information and reading the PDFs, but sometimes there's so many of these concepts that I just would like you to process it a little bit more before continuing with the 3rd part. So hello Electric Boy, hello Saori, thank you for being here. Lisa Cleveland, Bent is here, and Genovite and Ocean of Dell and other people. So thank you very much again. Nick J, you made it. Yes, you did. Now, I have a short announcement to make before I continue actually with this recap video. And this announcement is something super exciting. Targeters are not back, okay? Because some of you have been asking me, is it because they are back? No, it's not that. It's something else. It's very exciting. It's very curious, and it came to us as a surprise, actually. Very nice and sweet and kind surprise. And as you know, we talk to them by typing. Sometimes we turn on our audio and they can hear us, but they cannot talk back. We had the audio with Kalel, Dor Kalel, Targetan Man, a pilot, once, thanks to which actually Targetans got into trouble with the Federation because that was breaking their law according to the Federation. So anyway, that happened once, and we had that audio, I don't know, about 2 years ago or one and a half years ago. So what happened is that we had me and Robert and Matthias was also present. We had the first ever audio with Yaski. Yes, with Yaski. Not just us talking, but actually we could hear her. They have been trying this for a very long time, and I'm not going to go into the technical issues of this, but there are some difficult technical obstacles here that they have to conquer, because it's not as easy as it's easy, but it's just that the Federation doesn't necessarily allow it. So we could hear Yaski for the first time. It was a surprise. It was a surprise. And we had like a 1 hour and 8 minutes chat. I didn't understand exactly everything because the technical connection was great, but we didn't hear every single word. But I can say that Yaski is exactly how I imagine her to be. Her personality shines through. She's very sweet, very kind, very self-confident in her voice, very, very certain of herself, and very, very happy, very kind, very light-hearted. I could feel that she's this elevated being, but also full of life and full of light and full of very strong energy. She's like a sharp knife. She can get there if she wants to. But at the same time, she's very happy and light and being a girl. And she likes to giggle. She giggles a lot, like she laughs a lot. And she's just adorable. Just an adorable personality shines through. We didn't go into very specific metaphysical subject or anything like that, because for that, it's better actually typing, because then I can copy and paste and make a transcript. It's easier this way. But this way, chatting through the voice, it was just very intimate and nice. Like we talked like friends, and we talked in Spanish because it was with Robert. But we also had some here and there English parts, English moments. So she sent everybody her hello and greetings and her love. And she also she said that she would like to help more, that she would like to help everybody here on Earth much more, that she's, doing what she can with this information, with sharing what she knows. But she would like to do more. And she sent everybody her love. And it's pronounced, we asked her how she pronounces her name. She pronounced her name, it's Yaski, that way. So that was quite amazing. Don't ask, because I know you'll be asking, we cannot share this chat because simply it's not allowed. We don't have the authorization. But yes, yes, it was quite amazing, and I hope to do this again. Okay, well, I'm looking at the chat right now. Yes, it was quite amazing. Yes, even Matthias got to listen to her, to her voice. Something else that was on my mind to share in this topic. You could feel that she's very super smart. Like you could tell it's a child in a way, but it's like a wonder super child. She knows everything, and it's very, very strong. Her strength shone through a lot. Well, okay. So with that announcement done, I can continue here with this topic of the federation. I'm not going to do the recap of number 1 of part 1. I'm going to do the recap of part 2. Okay, it's always difficult for me to start because there are so many points, but I have my notes. So the first very important point with which I started that video was, is the federation good or bad? Is the federation good or bad? Well, this question is a very simplistic question and cannot be really responded in a dualistic yes or no, black or white way. And those of you who are listening to me and to my videos, you already know this. So when we talk about the federation and what they are and how they are, we have to look at, we have to consider what context, through which context we are looking at the federation from. So here in this context, because the federation has many goals, like it was in part 1, it has many goals in space, it has a lot of different objectives and missions, but through the context of what it is doing with Earth and with humans, Yasky and Taigetans view the federation in a certain way. And that way, I will explain a little bit more, a little bit later. Sorry, I'm still excited because I was talking about Yasky's audio. So my mind is still on that. So again, the context through which we are looking at here will determine how we will be judging and assessing the federation. It is not an easy topic to assess. Now, the next question here is, how do they view the 3D Earth? 3D Earth. How do they view this place? What is this place to them? And it was explained in detail in that video number 2. So one of their main rules or most cherished principles is the principle of free will. Of free will. However, as you will see in this quote, I like this quote, I'm going to share it with you. Here, the problem concerning Earth is that they are not considering the free will of the people of Earth because they are seeing it as a secondary interpretation or point of view of the same people on Earth, but in 5D. But in 5D. And what does this mean? One second. What does this actually mean? So you have to understand that we are multi-density people and we exist here, but we also simultaneously exist in other densities, in other timelines, so-called timelines, in other places. And it is from those other places, from those other higher densities, where our vision is more expanded, not from here. Even though this is relative, of course. You could have very expanded people from here, but generally speaking. So it is the free will of us, of the people in those higher densities, that will be much more respected and considered than our avatars here within 3D. That's why that free will of us, but from a higher level, from that other density, is more valued by the Federation than the free will of those same people, but here in 3D. Because we do cohabit various densities at once. And this also has to do with the concept of time. If we understood what time is, that there is no time, linear time as we understand it to be. So we can, in a non-linear way, exist in those different points of time attention of ourselves. And that other spectrum of ourselves has the access to the more expanded understanding and perception of things. Not from here. Here we are limited by design. So that's why the free will of us, but from that other level, will be more valued by the Federation and more respected and considered than the free will of the distorted, as they view it, avatars on Earth. So the problem with this perspective here, problem with this is that depending on the level that we inhabit, the level that our point of attention is focused, the perspective will change. It will change depending on where you are and where your attention is. So here, the perspective is limited. We are basically, as they view it, caricatures of our real equivalents in 5D. We are distorted versions, so to speak. But why is that? Not because our essence, our consciousness is distorted. No. Our consciousness and essence and who we are is the same. But due to the nature and the design of the very matrix, the range of the perception of us, of that essence, is limited, is distorted, because this reality is distorted. Everything is based on lies, on manipulations, on deceptions, and this is by design, and this is the nature of the matrix. So in that sense, our versions here are distorted, are limited to are limited in how they understand reality to be. That's why they are thinking, well, how can we base what we do based on what those distorted avatars decide? They don't have the access to the full picture, so they disregard those 3D avatars. They regard the free will of the 5D people as the real free will. For example, and we talked about this with them some time ago. For example, you can be in the immersion pod, and in that immersion pod, you route instructions to your immersion team. And those instructions could be, do not extract me under any circumstances. I want to complete my life cycle till the end. That's the free will of you before you incarnated. And then once you are here, for example, imagine you meet with your team or whatever, and hey, the topic of extraction comes up. And you ask, my God, I want to be extracted. I want to be taken out of here. I want to go home. Then the team has a dilemma. What do? Do they respect the wish of you once inside the 3D you? Or do they respect the wish of your equivalent in 5D before you went into the immersion, which said no extraction under no circumstance? Because for whatever reason, you didn't want to be extracted under any circumstances. But once you are here, that perspective is lost. That perspective is changed. It adapts to the matrix reality. You understand things differently. You suffer. You don't want to be here. You want to get out of here. So these are the kinds of dilemmas that are quite common, actually, between 5D and 3D people. And this is the base of this dilemma, of this Federation dilemma. So it's not that, in that sense, they are evil by disregarding our experience here. They are not evil in that. This is very, very important point. It's just that they have a different perspective. They have the access to the points of us that have designed this experience for themselves, because this experience has been designed by ourselves. We came here voluntarily. I know many of you, because I see in comments, always say that we have been forced here, or there are traps to incarnate back. But Jaski, Svaru, and Tengetens are very clear on this, that that's not how it happens. There are no forced reincarnations. They may feel so they may feel so only because you are giving and delegating a power to someone outside of you that tells you after you die that you must go back. So you feel that someone is right and you must listen, but you don't have to listen. This is your decision. So as I have here in this image, and so this is a very important point, that the perception changes depending on the density. The rise of its density causes a change in the perception of existence of its members, of what they understand reality to be. And this inevitably brings a change in their ethics. Ethics is something that changes depending on the level you are looking from, depending where you stand, depending on the spectrum of the reality from which you operate. So from our perspective, from the human perspective, what the Federation is doing, disregarding our free will, is unethical. It is. And as I will explain a bit later, the Yasky and Taigetans do view what the Federation is doing as unethical, but only from human incarnated perspective. So this is super important, because you cannot just take what we say and run with it without understanding the full context of what we are saying. Yes, we call them regressive. Yes, we call them unethical, but only through the isolated perspective of the incarnated humans as they understand reality and as they understand suffering. But it is not unethical from their perspective up there. From up there, they are doing the right thing. So this is very important. Now, Yasky has a problem with this situation and with this valuing the free will of 5D people above the free will of the 3D people. And the problem for her is because it basically invalidates the inhabitants of the 3D experiences as if they were playable characters. It devaluates their experience, because how many times has she explained this experience is real? It may be simulated by the immersion or whatever. It's simulated by the mind itself, but it is something that you perceive to be real, and that's what makes it real. So she's very much against devaluating this experience from within 3D. And as Varua X explained, I'm not looking at the chat right now, okay? I'm just focused on explaining this. As Varua X explained, for them, for the Federation members, us, Yasky, Taigetans, Varu, complaining about all this, it's like complaining that the character inside the game is suffering. And it's like we are trying to convince the character within the game to do something. For them, it's ludicrous. It's absurd. For them, this is a game. This is a play field. As we said many times, the extraterrestrial races perceive this place as the only place in the universe where multiple ET races can come in and have this seeming human experience using this human biosuit. And they are using Lyrian morphology because, according to them, it is best suited for the Earth experience. So it is a game in that sense, because it is the place where they can come in using various methods, immersions, half immersions, temporary immersions, half step downs, whatever, many ways of coming in here and experiencing this and experiencing this within the human suit. And also it is a game because everything here is artificially guided and manipulated, and it doesn't reflect at all what's outside. It doesn't. And this is going to be talked about in the video number 4, how Our reality is so manipulated and guided and artificial, everything, even and especially, and that's going to be explained as well, very important point, especially the concepts and ideas and stories and narratives running through the UFO community. Where else do you think they would be especially focused on manipulating the perception of people, especially in this community, because this is where the awakened people are asking questions. So this is especially important for them to manipulate those communities. But that's going to be in video number 4. And a little bit in 3 and 5, I don't remember. But it's going to be the next parts. So why is it a game for them? Because, like I said, because they come in here using different methods, incarnation methods, and also because this place doesn't reflect the reality at all of what's happening outside. Everything is artificial. All the ideas, concepts, the way of living, it's just artificially guided. So the sad thing here, as Yaski says, is that they do not see it as a problem, because for them, that's what's wanted. This is a wanted and desired experience for many of them in 5D and many souls coming from beyond 5D. This is a very unique, a special experience here to have. 1 second. Just going to have a little water. So that's the problem for Yaski here, is that they do not see this as a problem. It's not that they do this for evil reasons. Again, this must be stressed. It's just that we cannot measure their perspective with others. It's completely incompatible. We do have certain common grounds of understanding reality. That's going to be explained in video number 5. But apart from that, our vision and perspective of things is completely incompatible. So it's the key of the problem. Their understanding is more expanded. For them, we signed up for this. We enter at our own risk. We all knew what we were getting into. So they manage Earth from the position of maintaining our own free will and rights, but from up there. From up there, they are trying to protect this place as to what we want it to be from the other side. So they are trying to maintain the parameters of what's established, but what's established is from up there, or even from high densities. Smaller, more inferior rules of the game can be changed within the matrix itself. Yes, and we do that all the time. That's the whole idea of the game, to go in there and see how we can operate, navigate, change the game from within. But the very nature and structure of the game, the main skeleton of the game, will be maintained as it is. And the parameters of that game have been established by us before incarnating and agreed to. So here, I kind of even understand the Federation perspective, because to be honest, I know myself, and I know that I am very curious about experiences, about how things feel. For example, many times I'm watching a movie and I see a certain person go through something, even though if it's not very positive. I'm like very curious, how would that feel? How would that feel? Oh my gosh, there's like tsunami coming over your house. I wonder what's the feeling. I admit I have that kind of like a sick curiosity within me. Of course, there are limits to what I would expose myself to, but in a way, I do have the inner memory of my soul wanting to expose itself to different experiences to see what it feels. But not only to see what it feels, there's something else here. Expose myself to different experiences in order to define myself, to see what limits I have within myself, to see and experience and touch and taste my own character, which cannot be felt and touched and experienced and tasted if nothing's going on. How can you experience yourself to be courageous if there's no situation against which you have to be courageous, in which you have to be courageous? If everything is just bland and plain and nothing's going on, then you don't even know what you're made of. You don't know what qualities you possess. You only know and discover these things about yourself, and you define yourself when put into specific situations. This enriches you, and it enriches the source itself through you. So I know that there is that in me to want to go into certain experiences, even difficult experiences, to test my character. For example, 20 years ago, I wanted to go to the army. I did. I even went to the army office, and I was ready. And I had no idea about anything yet at that point. But I just wanted to put myself in the difficult situations as a challenge. Souls like challenges. Not all. I'm not saying all of them. And there are also phases. Sometimes you feel like you want challenge, and then you want to rest from challenges. But in a way, you expand through challenges. So here, I do understand that position of the Federation, that this place is maintained as this challenging place where the souls can go in, and they want to go in, and they want to push themselves and define themselves, because for them, 80 years maximum here of life is nothing. Is nothing. It's like, they live, Tagetans live up to 1,000 years. I think Andromedans like maybe 3,000 or 4,000. So 50 years of life, 60, 70, 80, whatever, even 100, this is a blink of an eye to them. This is not a big deal. It's also similar to that baby example that was mentioned in the video, where, for example, you carry a baby. You carry your baby, and that baby crying because, I don't know, its toy dropped. In that moment, that experience is horrible to that baby, but you don't even pay attention. Like, yeah, there's a toy. Okay, big deal. From your expanded perspective, you understand that that baby tomorrow will not even remember this, because that moment was so insignificant for the overall journey of the baby's life. But in that moment, that baby is suffering, and for that baby, that's all there is. Look at the face of the baby. It's crying, it's suffering, it's miserable. There's nothing else going on in that baby's mind but pick up my toy, right? So that's how the Federation views us. This is nothing. This is like a blink of an eye. So if you look at it this way, at this game, it kind of takes the load off of it, the way I look at it, because it makes you realize it's really not so serious as we think. And there is life after this. And this is just a small portion of the overall experience and existence of our souls. So another point here is that even despite everything I just said, still Yaski has a problem with this, because the suffering is real and it is not being considered. And the problem here is those races that do not consider the suffering from within the 3D as important, they are less emphatic, they are less emotional, they are not constructed that way to empathize with the humans in that way. So Yaski and Svaru have always been stressing this point that the non-emotional, non-emphatic races should not be in charge of the management of the earth, because they are just not capable of understanding that range of emotions and experience that the humans are going through here. And it's not, again, that they are evil. It's just that's how they are constructed. They see it in a different way. Charles Ponzi, psychopaths. Well, you see, I see those. I see those terms. I understand why you're saying that, but at the same time, it's a matter of perspectives. Okay. Let's continue. Now, another important point here that Yaski mentioned is that, okay, the Federation in general, their idea is not to consider the 3D wishes as something super essential, but the 5D wishes, although you understand a little bit later that the collective wishes here is also something they are looking at, but in a different way, through our leaders, another point. But what is reading our wishes here within 3D is the etheric field. And this goes into the whole subject of the law of attraction and law of mirrors that works individually in everybody's lives, but also collectively. So this is another mechanism on Earth, which she explains, through which all this suffering and all these disasters and dramas and tragedies are happening, because we are locked in that cycle of law of mirrors, which has its flaws, because it means that whatever we are experiencing, we'll be attracting that back again and reflecting that again. We are in the soup of misery. So our collective unconscious is a mess, and we cannot reflect back beautiful reality if our unconscious is a mess and a disaster inside. And as she explains here too, interesting point is that individually, the field is always reflecting things to us individually. However, as we are immersed in this soup of collective wishes and desires and ideas and thoughts and frequencies, we are also influenced by that, because our individual wishes and desires are dispersed, are not as focused, because they are so influenced by those collective wishes and desires. So then those will reflect as all those tulpas and all those, as I call them in Spanish, egregores, that will take on its life. And they will also reflect in our leaders. They will also reflect in how our leaders are, and it will further reflect in how the cabal operates the earth. So it's all spawning out from our collective unconscious, as Yaski explains, projecting outwards. So this is a complicated scenario, another layer of what's going on Earth. It's not just the Federation and all that being involved, but it's our own collective mind reflecting stuff and generating stuff and making things being spawned back to us. So in a way, that's what the Federation is respecting as well, because that's one of the rules of the control mechanisms of Earth, as viewed from their perspective, that it has to be respected. Whatever happens within Earth, within the Earth game, whatever we project has to be respected, by space laws. So it gets complicated when you start to look at this whole mechanism on Earth from all these different angles. So in summary, here, the 5D Federation, they respect the needs of 5D people as the primordial needs. These are the primordial needs for them, which they respect. But also, because it was also said, they respect the collective needs of the humanity. So here I didn't understand this point, and I had to question Yaski a little bit more, because I didn't understand. I said, okay, you're saying they are respecting 5D ones, but then you are saying they are also respecting 3D collective ones. So which one is it? What do they respect? So here, Yaski, I like this quote, explained in that way. In a few words, they observe 5D needs and wishes, primordially, essentially, 5D needs and wishes, and then from inside, once you are already inside, the 3D, then from the inside the 3D, they also observe lesser wishes as for changing the gameplay from within. Once inside the game, some things can be changed at the will of the players, but not the general subject of the game. And I think this quote is key here to understand this. What do they respect? 5D wishes or 3D wishes? Wishes, both. First, essentially 5D wishes. But then our 5D wish before incarnating is to go in and, in a way, be free to manifest whatever 3D manifests for us, because that's the nature of the game. So if everybody on Earth is collectively agreeing to the papaya treatments, then according to the parameters of respecting the game from up there, they need to respect that. And that's why they are not intervening. And that's why they're not doing anything about it. And that's where Yasky has a problem. That's what all this is about. So, as this quote said, the general subject of the game will not be changed. Just whatever the 3D players want on a minor scale, on a smaller scale. Like, for example, wars or no wars, papaya shots or no papaya shots. These are variables within the game of Matrix for them. So these variables are at the hands of the players collectively. But the overall construct of the nature of the matrix will not be changed. They are in charge of that. They are in control of that. They will not allow only major catastrophes like nuclear wars, something that destroys the planet and the whole society, because then this finishes the whole game, and they do not want to lose this place. They are taking care of this place also in other ways, which I will mention at the end, by blocking off other regressive races from accessing this place. That's what they do as well. But it's because they want to protect their playground. It's not because of what we think it is. It's not because they are trying to liberate us into the interstellar existence. No. Okay, short pause. Okay, I see some questions. It's not an easy subject, and I'm also with you on this journey of wrapping my head around these concepts and trying to unravel them and make sense of them. Some concepts here were even new to me, like something I will mention at the end. Let's continue. So, talking about papaya treatments, as I call them, I hope you all understand what they're referring to. Papaya treatment. I was very confused about whether the Federation supports those. Is it something they orchestrated? Is it something they came up with? Who is behind this exactly? So here, Yasky is quite convinced that this is coming from the Cabal Illuminati level. Not necessarily from the Federation itself, but from the Cabal Illuminati level, which is a lower step from the Federation level. They don't do anything without their super lords, the Federation anyway, but let's say it's coming from the Cabal Illuminati level, because this is them who have these ideas about the elimination of the population, and they're also, into rituals and feeding off people's suffering and all that. So this is coming from that level, and it is being executed on that level, with the Federation being permissive, turning to the other side, or openly cooperating. We don't know. No one knows exactly the exact level of their involvement with this. But they definitely have their hand in it, because the Cabal Illuminati don't move without their authorization and supervision of their overlords, which on the highest level is the Federation. So they cannot just say they are not involved, the Federation. The Federation listens to the Illuminati leaders. They have the direct communication, no channeling. So the Federation comes and talks to the Illuminati, and the Illuminati say, okay, we have this idea. Listen, there are too many people on the planet. We have a plan of what to do, how to fix this. According to them, they are being ethical as well. we have here another example of how ethics changes according to the perspective. For the Federation, for the Illuminati, they are actually being quite nice to the population, because they are removing them gently, because there are too many people. So the Federation says, okay, guys, well, you have to inform them. That's one of the rules. You need to let them know what you're doing. So the Illuminati and Cabal are telling people through movies and series and all kinds of places. And people, of course, they don't understand. So it seems like they want it and like they agree to it. So the Federation, okay, well then, okay, it seems like they want it. It's like what the collective wants. So they look the other way. So this is quite problematic here as well. And now Yaski explains that Federation is huge. So it cannot be exactly stated which levels and which factions are orchestrating this or being permissive or what's happening exactly. Some members of the Federation are orchestrating that. Others are simply being permissive and looking and observing, like, for example, the lower Federation level, Andromedan level, the Viera biosphere Andromeda ship, they probably have nothing to do with orchestrating this. They are also, as Yaski explains, they are also worried about the situation on Earth, so they are just being permissive. They are observing, like majority of races. Other races are being even manipulated or blackmailed into complying. Like, for example, Taigetans, they have had all these issues with the Federation over years. So here she's saying, even though the papaya treatment and all that is coming from the Cabal Illuminati level, this still doesn't justify, this still doesn't exonerate the Federation. In her eyes, their permissiveness, even if it's just permissiveness, but it's probably more, but if it's just permissiveness, it doesn't, it makes them criminally active in this whole process, because they are so powerful. They could end this. They could end all this with the credit given to the people, because this is how it always has to be. The credit has to be given to the people. They cannot take credit themselves. So sometimes they are doing different actions, helping or whatever actions they are doing, but it looks like the army did it, or it looks like that group of people did it. They always give credit to the people. So that's one of the laws. So as Yaski here explains, they are complices of this. Even if they are just permissive, they are complices because they could end this, and they are not ending this. I'm talking about specific situation of papaya treatments program, which is very serious. This is a very serious program. So because of some non-intervention into the game laws, they are not doing anything to stop this. And this is criminal according to Yaski. This is going too much. This is according to her what makes this game sick. This is just irresponsible, and it is completely undervaluing the experience of people within 3D and their suffering. So as she is explaining, the Federation, they have their hands in this, because even if it's coming from the lower levels, the ideas and execution of the treatments, those lower levels cannot do anything without talking to their overlords. They don't move their finger without those above, and they have direct contact with the Federation members. The highest level of the Cabal and Illuminati, they talk to the Federation. They have direct contact. There is no channeling here. So there's definitely involvement here of the Federation, this way or the other. Whether some factions are permissive, others are just observing, others are orchestrating. There's fishy stuff going on. And why? Easy to see, because there is nothing being done with the program of papaya treatments. We are specifically talking about this situation, because this situation is actually absolutely the most important and urgent situation to address at this point on planet Earth. She explained that this was the most serious situation since Tiamat Wars. And where are they? Why are they not fixing this if they are saying that we are, helping and liberating humanity? Well, from what if we are not going to survive? Tomorrow, like she said in the video, today is too late. So just looking from that practical situation for humans right now at what's happening on Earth, the Federation is guilty, according to Yaski, from this perspective, from the perspective of the incarnated humans. So here we go into the part of why is Federation regressive. Many things I already mentioned. But for example, Taigetans back in December, they had a specific plan. Okay, call it idealistic, innocent, plan to help the humans. They had a specific plan to take over the media. Because it was agreed that the media has a crucial part in this, in driving people's perception and all that. So they had this plan to take over the media. I'm not going to go into the details of this, but it was pretty advanced already. And again, I don't want to talk about details, but they already even talked to specific groups on Earth to make this happen. And the Federation stopped them. The Federation said, no, you cannot proceed with this plan. And not just that you cannot proceed, you need to get out of here. Get out of here. And finally, they managed to disconnect them from the internet. And now they are in Taygeta because there was nothing else for them to do. They have been stopped every single time they wanted to do something, they were stopped. So these are facts. These are the facts we have to be considering here. Here, Yaski explains, again, you have to really look at this realistically. Look at the Earth history. How many disasters and tragedies we already had in our past. And they have never done anything to solve those tragedies and stop the wars as people wanted them to. And we had all kinds of situations already on Earth. Dark ages, barbaric things happening, all kinds of wars and catastrophes. Why should it be different now? They are super powerful. They could have ended any of those things. They have been here for thousands of years, millennia. And they are not because of their non-intervention laws about the game. These are the parameters of the game, that we create here things according to how we want to create things. So that's what's happening. Yeah. However, here I see a lot of comments like, for example, show it now, 99. He says, I want to talk to the managers of the Federation. They are crap. Yes. From what we are saying, it might look, and it does look, and it is like they are crap. Yes, because they are perpetuating this sick, from our perspective, game of the suffering souls and all that for the experience, as they claim. However, please, and this is super important, this is very important, do not throw all of the Federation into the same basket. This is something that I'm trying to avoid here. Even though we sound very strong against those factions of the Federation that are involved now with the papaya treatments or being permissive or whatever, there are factions and groups and individual people within the Federation that have nothing to do with this and that are doing their best to help according to how they understand help. So, for example, there are fighter pilots doing control air patrol missions. And for them, what we say is unfair. Because what we say is from another level of the game. What Yaski is saying is from above. we are not talking about the lower level of the game, where the individual fights between cabal, between reptilians and the fighter pilots of the Federation are occurring. Those fighter pilots are really putting their lives at risk. Last year, there was an URMA pilot, Ishti of Avion, who was shot down and died. And it was we didn't say anything about that at the time, but it was quite a tragedy for the Taygetans as well, because he was their friend and he had a family here, his wife and children, yes, all Urmas, and he died. He was shot down. So these individual Federation members who are doing all these missions and operations and go on blockades missions around the Earth, they do put themselves at risk for humans. So this is very important to say that not everybody is a psychopath or it's all crap, the Federation. They do a lot. Even the lower Federation, Viera, where Yaski and Svaru are now right now, like I said, they are also worried about the situation. And there are a lot of Federation pilots who go on these blockades missions, so no unauthorized spaceships go in. And this is something I will explain also in video number 5. I didn't even know that, but Yaski explained that there are a lot of other, let's call them regressive races, who are constantly trying to come in and take control of Earth. And the Federation is taking care of that. So these fighter pilots go and try to protect the Earth parameter from all these unauthorized invaders. They are going around chasing Maitreyan reptilian fighter ships, and sometimes they get into very dangerous situations. So the Federation is protecting Earth from these space invaders who, according to Yaski, are not necessarily evil. They are just being opportunistic because Earth is in a very vulnerable state. So the Federation protects the Earth humans from those space invaders, let's call them, so that humans don't have to worry about it. So they don't have to worry about it. So they can continue on with their lives and stay within their game. But they protect the Earth from them, not because they want to liberate the Earth into the interstellar status or anything like that. It's because they are trying to protect their field. They are trying to protect their rule over the Earth. Like Yaski explained, for example, one of these space invading races are Malakak. They are the ones who are making shady agreements with the US government. More about Malakak, if you want to see, I saw the video on Pleiadian Knowledge. I think they made a short video about that race. Other races, for example, try to sneak in here and extract things. They are trying to extract whatever they need, minerals, metals, or food, including humans for food. So the Federation is taking care of that, is protecting the Earth from those, to protect their playground in that sense. So in that sense, they are doing things. They are not all crooked. They are taking care of this playground as much as they can according to their perspective. But as Yaski explains, and this is another very important point, finishing point, all that is one level of the game, only one level. Because from above, the Federation plays both sides. And that's why all these miscommunications and misunderstandings and contradictions appear among the contactees, I think, because we are talking from different levels of the games. Most contactees are talking from the level of the lower game, where all these fights are happening and battles between reptilians and Federation pilot trying to protect from these space invaders and all that, which is very real. Just like in the Second World War, Nazis and Allies war was very real. The battles and the struggles between them were very real. The pilots of the Allies were fighting to protect their families and their friends. And on the other side, they were doing the same thing, while from above, the Illuminati was controlling both sides. So the Illuminati was controlling both sides of the war. That's how it was. And from even higher above, the Federation was being complacent with both sides because that's the game. So that's the level we are talking from when we are accusing the Federation of being negative. We are not talking from the lower level of the game, where all these battles and conflicts do occur, and the Federation pilots and officers do die even. But there is another level. Remember, Yaski is not operating from the lower level. She's always going beyond that. And that's the nature of our information. We are not just talking from one level of the game, of the situation. We are always going beyond. And Yaski always goes beyond. She looks above, always. She looks at the whole picture. Just like right now, we will be analyzing the Second World War, that the Illuminati was controlling everything. You know, there's information coming out about that. So this information that we present is not easy. It is not easy. It can be easily misinterpreted depending on what level of the game of the information you'll be looking at. And then people take that and they run with it without understanding the full picture of what we are saying. Because what we present, our information, encompasses many levels. It's not for single-layered minds. We're not presenting this for the single-layered minds. So again, the lower level of the Federation, they are doing things. And then on the higher level, as Yaski explains, the Federation is playing both sides. And here, a new concept, something that I was even, wow, like really puzzled to hear, was that when I asked, how are they playing both sides? What do they do exactly on the positive side? Because if it's both sides, so it has to be something positive, something not so positive. And here she says, they are doing their best to actually awaken the people, on the other hand. So all these new age frequency rising messages and Arcturians channeling and whatever, they are doing this, and this is a new concept for me to grasp, to accentuate duality and conflict, because that's their game. They want to see what's going to happen. They want to accentuate. I'm not saying all of them are doing that to accentuate duality. For sure, there are many who are truly wanting to awaken the people, because this would include us. In that sense, what are we doing awakening the people? Also to accentuate duality? I'm not doing this in my mind to accentuate duality. I feel like at this point, our job is to take people out of the game completely so they can see the game from above, all of it. But yeah, that was an interesting concept that she mentioned, that maybe we can deepen that one day, that they do that. They do their best to awaken the people, yes, on the one side, to accentuate duality. And then on the other hand, they are throwing in the wrench, like the papaya situation, for example. So this is all very, 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 very complex. Now, I reached the end of my presentation here, and many of you are asking me, well, what do we do with this now? I think one of you just asked that question. So what do we do? Where do we go from now with this information? Well, I was thinking about it today. I even asked Svaru X for some sort of advice answering this question. And she didn't get in touch with me yet, so I don't have her response. But I feel that I am not in a position to tell you how you should position yourself within this scenario, because all of you will know yourself how you want to proceed and how you want to act upon upon this information. Just think about it, contemplate, ponder. More information is to come. Look at other sources, see how you feel among this whole scenario of things, and choose yourself, your position. This is your game, because as Yaski says, it is a game. Get over it. The problem here is not us trying to say it's not a game. It is, but we are trying to say to the Federation that kind of suffering and duality and conflict is not necessary for souls to expand. Not that drastic. The suffering needs to be considered and valued as real, as much as suffering from 5D. But it's your decision to position yourself within this and how you want to react and what you want to do. Where you have to go with what you feel is right for you in the end. Even if it still fulfills some kind of a role in the game. We are all playing games all the time. Even 5D is a game. You can never get out of the game as long as you are alive. Because above, okay, it's going to be another level of the game, but still game. It's still your mental creation and mental manifestation. So there's no escaping from that. So it's just your choice to decide how you want to position yourself within that, what you want to get out of from here, how you want to live your life, and how you want to contribute to your sense of understanding, to your sense of well-being. You give it meaning. I cannot impose that meaning on you. That'll be not right, and that'll be the imposition, and that'll be again you listening to what I tell you to do. It's not my role to tell you what to do, how to place yourself with this information. This is your responsibility. You know why you are here, even if you don't know it consciously. Somewhere within you there is the knowledge of why you came and why you decided to play a role within this game, and then decide. Exactly. PTSD is gone. No need to get into fear, except as an experience. Time to go home, game over. Well, yes, Chemo Sabe. Maybe one of the purpose of this information is to shake people out of the game, if that's what they want. Make people aware what this is, the nature of this game reality, and then they decide. But always do what you feel is right for yourself. Like, for example, me continuing to give this information or doing these videos. I don't know if in the end I'm contributing to the reset, if I'm still playing some kind of a game role here between the helpers and no helpers, liberators and non-liberators, cabal. I know I'm playing a role, but it makes me happy. It makes me fulfilled. So I feel I'm doing, thank you, Mandy. I'm going to go to your question in a second. So as long as I feel I'm okay with what I'm doing, I feel in peace. And I feel that continuing to give this information is what I like to do. So this is my role within the game. And a game it is, but find your role and be in peace with that role. There's no one specific standard way to position yourself here, because you ask me, what do we do now? Well, you choose. You decide what you want to do with this. Okay, Mandy, let me go to the question, and then I'm going to finish the live. I have no idea what you thought about all this information because I was not reading the chat. I'm going to look a little later. Okay, Mandy is asking. Good that I haven't lost your question this time. Last time I lost your question. Can we contact our team from our pods? Do they hear us and know what we are experiencing? Or do they have no idea what we are going through? There is really no way to contact your team consciously. You can try talking to them telepathically or whatever, but they are not there. They are there monitoring and watching and making sure everything is okay with your 5D body in the pod, but they are not there trying to look for communication with you. Really, their job is just to make sure you're okay there. But yes, they can see what you are experiencing. This was actually explained, if you want to know more, in a video about abductions. And those video about the abductions that Annika did, it was explained that we through the implants that all the star seeds have, those star families, they can have the access to the experience of the avatar star seeds. I remember one time Annika said that they can even smell me, but they are not doing that because they want to respect the privacy. But they are definitely receiving a lot of information about our experience, because many times that's the only thing to know what life here is like, through us. Actually, the whole experience for the immersion people is even registered, recorded, and it can be reviewed once you go up there, once you wake up, and then you can even review it and study it and learn from it. So as you see, we here perceive it as something super serious, and it is. That's the whole point. But at the same time, it's not. It is. But at the same time, there is more. And this is not all there is. It's like, for example, Matthias, my boyfriend, he's always talking about how he wants to find his life purpose, and he's suffering because he doesn't have the life purpose and he doesn't know his role. And I always tell him, be okay with not with feeling like perhaps you don't have a life purpose right now. And why? Because this life and this short path of your overall journey is not all there is. So you don't have to feel desperate to find that life purpose right now, because if not, that's it. I will die and I'm done. My life wasn't fulfilled. No, because this short portion of that overall life is just a short portion of it. It's just a blink of an eye. So you don't have to stress, and you don't have to be so desperate about so anxiously fulfilling your life mission. If not, you fail. Don't take it that way. Francine, yeah, I had the same problem. I have no clue yet, which is okay, which is totally okay. Many times we will understand it completely on the other side, only on the other side. And in the meantime, give it daily meaning. Give it meaning as you go, as you flow with your life. Let yourself flow with whatever meaning comes up to you. Yes. Yes, Luisa Pienar, good advice. Yes, exactly. Yes, Angela, live in the moment, and each moment show you how to be and what to do. Enjoy your life as much as you can. Yes, Yorona, it's all part of the process. So, yes, eighth sinner, forget about purpose. Look for joy and appreciate what little you find, because to carry this information is a burden enough. It is indeed. So I hope this recap was somewhat helpful to you, and perhaps clarified or solidified some points. Of course, I couldn't mention all the points, and for sure you could. You probably took from that video other things that I haven't mentioned. But I think it was good to make this pause, before we continue, the next video, number 3, is going to be very interesting and very, very strong as well. It is going to be about how the CIA is involved with the UFO community, cabal, the Federation, how it influences the UFO community. That's going to be very, very important. It's influencing it more than we imagine. And then number 4 video, oh no, and also in number 3, there's going to be some mentioning of the false flag space invasion, what that could be, how that could be. And then number 5, it's going to be like a mix of different chats. Robert was present as well. Thank you, Susan. Where we deepen some of these concepts still more. And then number 5, it's going to be actually a video that is based on my question that I made to Yaski a few days ago or a week ago about all these people that say they are liberating the earth. Like, you know, I don't want to say names, but there are a lot of contactees who talk about how the Federation alliances and whoever are liberating people from the cabal. And so I'm like, Yaski, what are they liberating them from? If from your higher perspective, this is all a game. I mean, this is all played by the Federation on both sides. So how does this liberation fight fit in all this picture? What are they liberating who and from? Because something is definitely happening. So again, like I explained in this video, this is just different levels of the game. But it will be explained more in video number 5. Thank you very much, M's Mouse Boy. So that's what's happening. Okay? Thank you very much. For now, the Federation, the Tegetans do not have a contact with us, only Yaski and Zvaru X. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody. And I will see you in video number 3. Thank you, all the moderators, for being in the room. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.